Sup nerds, I'm Tom, let's talk Scooby-Doo. So Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion is a mystery, like solving a mystery game with puzzles and stuff, so there's an awful lot of spoilers, right? And I'm not going to get into spoilers, which means this video is going to be pretty quick and pretty vague. I'm just going to tell you kind of what it's like and that I really like it. I thought it was awesome. But I'm not going to tell you exactly any specific puzzles, anything story specific too much, except for I can tell you that it's, you're driving the mystery machine, your mystery machine breaks down, and you go into this mansion to, try and use the phone, I think, and you uncover some creepy stuff. But the main way you play this game, so similar to games like Exit and Unlock, or like the adventure game systems, or anything, or even like Chronicles of Crime to an extent, where you are gaining information, but you're also solving puzzles. So Exit and Unlock aren't super story-based most of the time, but this one's kind of like a Venn diagram, right? There's a mystery you're actually solving with information you hear about what's going on and who the people are. You interview characters and you gain information about the past and stuff. I don't want to get into spoilers, but you gain information to solve the mystery, but then you also solve puzzles to progress further on, right? And one of the main ways you do both of those, really, to progress further, is you have different characters that can interact with different elements in the game. Like, you'll flip up this map tile here, and a good example here is we've got Velma is going to research. So right here in the foyer, and this is the very first room you see, so this isn't really a spoiler, but like Velma could research what's on this table. So her number is 1, so she'll bump up against here. So you'll look up in her book number 1201, or you can look at this room, which is 111, which actually you can't look at that yet because it has to be a 4-digit number for you to investigate something. Okay, so let me investigate this armoire here, 1401, or let me investigate this door over here, 1301. There is a decent amount at first of just bumping each character up against every number and looking up and reading every different thing, which is ultimately not the best way to go about doing this, is because you could end up eating Scooby snacks. Scooby snacks are like, you'll eat a Scooby snack if you need to look up something and it's not there, or if, you're obviously wasting your time and you're looking at something that the story clearly isn't telling you to look at, so you'll eat a Scooby snack. And this is like, if you eat too many, that has to do with the score that you get at the end of the game. I think it's good to include that. It's okay if you're playing with like really young kids to not really worry about that too much. And you could play this with younger kids. You could guide them through it a bit, because you could, again, just say, okay, well, what do you want to look at? What does Scooby want to eat? No, it's Shaggy. What does Shaggy want to eat? What should Scooby smell? Should he smell the door? Doors don't really have smells. But there's some candy over here. What if he smells the candy? Maybe that'll help him out. That kind of thing. So again, like I said, you'll be doing an awful lot of just flipping through the book. Let's look at this. Let's look at that. Let's look at this. But as the story goes on, you should be getting more information and more clues, and you should kind of know what to look at, right? You should know maybe Scooby shouldn't sniff the door, but there's food. There's actually, a decent amount of food later on in the game, which makes Shaggy's eat ability and Scooby's smell ability make a little bit more sense. Now, granted, you are going to use those characters like the least, because eat and smell, even though they do integrate well into the story, it's not half as useful as research, right? Or what is Daphne's again? Daphne's is use, and Fred's ability is investigate. So those abilities are overall more useful for what you're trying to do. Again, every character is used, right? And so if you're playing with 5 players, there's not going to be one player sitting there doing nothing the whole game. But if you are playing with 5 players, you should probably give Scooby to like the youngest player. But you do get instructed to open envelopes, which is really fun, and you can reset things, because there are even times when it tells you to put stuff back in the envelopes, like when you're done with it to an extent. So this is easily replayable. Probably not with the people, like, I'm not going to really play it again because I know the story. Or maybe I'll wait 2 years and then play it and I won't remember the story. But, you could pack it back up and have another person play it and they'll still have a good time. It's not like Exit where you actually cut things and rip things and they're one-time use. This is replayable. And there is a nice stopping point where you can put all the stuff that you've gathered so far into this little envelope, and then you can open it up again and play chapter 2. But I actually just sat down and went through the whole thing, in one go. It's not that long. But if you're playing with younger kids, that would be a good way to break it up a little bit. But when I said earlier that it was kind of like a Venn diagram of story and puzzles, it is true that there are a lot of times when the story and the puzzles don't really match up together. You know, like some of them, yes, but some of them I'm like, this is just to progress further. This is just so I can get to the next room and keep on going, right? It doesn't really feel like it's connected to the story. There are some that do kind of feel that way, right? Like thematically at least makes sense. So there is that part in the middle of the Venn diagram where they do gel together pretty well, but not always. And honestly, that's fine. You know, it's Exit is the same way. You know, every time I'm doing these little puzzles, I'm always like, I know this doesn't fit into the story or whatever. Same thing with Unlock and all that stuff, you know. It's just so I can progress further, but they're brain teasers and they're fun. You know, I've enjoyed pretty much all the puzzles. I definitely like some more than others, and they're like riddles. It's like there's a decent amount of different stuff in here. Some of them are going to be easier for younger kids, and some of them are going to be harder. And some people are just not going to get certain things. I did have to look up one puzzle in particular because I was like, I don't know what's going on here. You know, I mean, so it is overall easy, but it's better to play this game when there's multiple people in a group. Everybody has a different view of things. Everybody sees things a little bit differently, you know. I did solo this one by myself because, at least right now, getting people together to play and getting lots of people together to play games isn't something I can do all that often. So, you know, this one I did, you know, bust through in about 3 hours by myself with some music on in the background. And while that is doable, this is a soloable game. I'm not someone who plays solo games all that much, so I did kind of wish we had more people. I had more people to play this game with, and it would be more fun with more people. You know, you want to kind of settle in for this, put on Scooby-Doo in the background, put on Scooby-Doo soundtrack or something, you know, have some popcorn and call those Scooby snacks, whatever, and it'll be a really good time. I did overall enjoy this one. I think it's a good system. I probably think the exit system is still the best, like, overall experience because the types of puzzles you're able to do when cutting and ripping things is a little bit more interesting. But this is still a great system. I love these types of escape room and mystery in a box type games. Those are really fun. I'm looking forward to the other things in the Coded Chronicles system. I know the next one is The Shining, which is going to be obviously not going to be for kids. So that's probably going to be a very different experience. But again, it's still an overall fun experience, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to play more. And if any of what I was talking about in this video sounds interesting to you, I'm going to put a purchase link to this game in the description box down below. I just messed it up. If any of what I was talking about in this video sounds interesting to you, I'm going to put a purchase link to this game in the description box down below. And while you're down there, there's also a link for Game Toppers. That's this thing we're filming on here. It's awesome. There's also going to be a button that says subscribe. Hey, what are you going to do with that button? You're going to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.